Hey there, NFC North fans. This is Tim with the NFC North Monsters. Just wanted to do a recap of this week's football games that took place between the Vikings versus the Packers and the Bears versus the Lions. We definitely struggled this weekend against the Lions. Didn't really show a whole lot of gumption out of the gate like we should have. We still limped into the playoffs with the number 2 seed. But let's start this off with the Vikings against the Green Bay Packers. So, what can we take away from this? JJ McCarthy looked immature. He had that penalty that was unnecessary where he went up and down and he apologized to his teammates on the sidelines. Justin Jefferson, phenomenal receiver. But I just want to say one thing about this. He was all about getting that 1,000 yards. Like, that was super important to him to have 6 years in a row of 1,000 yards. I get it. You're a wide receiver, but you're also a captain. And if the team's struggling, everybody's struggling. So I just don't get the me mentality. Didn't see that with Caleb Williams, even though it really felt like it in the game, with the Bears trying to really push for those 4,000 yards passing. He got close. He was 58 yards or so away. But at the end of the day, I think Caleb Williams wanted the win, and Justin Jefferson really didn't care. And then, as the game progressed with the Vikings and the Packers, the Packers didn't play any of their starters. They really had nothing to play for. They were coming into the playoffs with the number 7 seed. They knew that they were either traveling to Chicago or possibly going to Philadelphia. So it really didn't matter, but they wanted to come into the playoffs healthy. Personally, I feel like they should have had their starters out there for at least a series or two just to get them going, especially with Jordan Love coming back from the concussion. I did see a funny meme today that the Packers are going to bench or not start Malik Willis because of the injuries that he has, and that they'll have to bring in the backup of Jordan Love to play the game. Kind of funny, but this is the biggest rivalry there is in the NFL. I feel the Packers against the Bears, and how sweet it is. Round 3, here we go. Let's see how it goes this time around. But I'm getting ahead of myself here. Let's just keep talking about this Vikings and the Green Bay Packers game. LaFleur, I feel like, is going to eventually head towards the hot seat. But a lot of rumors, speculation out there that he is already approaching that hot seat. I've heard that if they lose ugly or get blown out by the Bears, that he could possibly be terminated as early as Monday following that game. But let's give the Vikings a lot of credit. They fought tooth and nail there towards the end of the season to at least get up to a winning record. It's the second time ever in the NFL's history that the NFC North, every team has finished above 500. Pretty astonishing fact if you think about it, because the Bears have been around for 100 years. Packers have been around for 100 years. Vikings and Lions have definitely been around for probably well over 70, 80 years now that they've been around. Just twice, though, in the entire history, it shows that all 4 of these teams have finished above 500. I think that really shows why the NFC North is probably one of the toughest divisions in the NFL, just because you're either going to get one playoff team out of that. Well, you're always guaranteed one playoff team out of the NFC North, but it just shows that it is really, really a tough division. Last year we had 3 teams represent the NFC North, but most times we're looking at just one team. This year we have the 2 teams, obviously the Bears against the Packers, which is going to be very exciting. I think it's going to be one of the highest rated games of the entire weekend. Amazon Prime, 6 p.m. I know I'm definitely going to be sitting around watching that one. I'm very excited. Really hope that we don't come out like we did against the Detroit Lions. So let's now talk about the Detroit Lions and the Chicago Bears game. So started the game out as flat as possible. Defense still has its issues all over the place, but the Lions came out, and you were really thought they were the team that was playing for that number 2 seed, not the Chicago Bears. Did not like the fact at all that the Bears had to look for help in order to get that number 2 seed. Thankfully, the Eagles were playing their backups as well, but they almost came out and beat the Commanders. I said it in the last couple shows. The number 2 seed is just as good as that number 1 seed because there's a good possibility that the number 1 seed will get knocked off. That now makes you the path to the Super Bowl. And let me tell you, nobody wants to be playing in Chicago in that cold, windy, snowy weather to get to the Super Bowl, except for the Chicago Bears. It will be the one thing I would miss if the Bears do get a new stadium and they don't have a retractable roof. I do understand that, there's a huge cost to putting a retractable roof on, but it's Chicago. I think they really need to have that element when they play, but it's not about that. It's about the money. It's about getting Final Fours. It's about getting national championships. It's about other things other than just Bears football. And obviously, they want to host a Super Bowl in Chicago, which would be phenomenal to see. And even I might have to buy a ticket for that one. Well, let's get back to the game. Caleb Williams did wind up breaking the single season record for the Chicago Bears passing. Eric Kramer had that record since 1995. I really thought Eric Kramer back in the day was one of the better quarterbacks Chicago ever had. That was back in my younger days. But I mean, honestly, Caleb is the future of this team. He is, without a doubt, the franchise quarterback. He is the Iceman. And we are very lucky that he suits up for us every single Sunday. And it's just been fun to watch him play. I don't think anyone can disagree with that. Just very fortunate that we have Caleb, but he had his issues in the game with his wide receivers dropping 8 passes. Colston Loveland leading that charge with 3. It was really surprising because Colston has like some of the surest hands out there, and even Luther Burden had a drop. These kids don't usually drop these passes, but it's just I don't know if they had the footsteps in their heads that they could hear the defenders coming at them. But at the end of the day, we did not come away with the victory. We had to rely on help, but let's just keep diving into this game and some of the issues that we had. We had the 4th down where we went for it down in our end zone when we could just kick the field goal, get the points on the board. This was kind of just reminding me of that San Francisco game. When you have the opportunity against opponents, no matter what you're thinking, just get the points on the board. Get that momentum. It's okay to go. I'm not disagreeing with going on 4th downs. But sometimes when you're just needing something, especially in that game, because they only made it 13-3 at that point, going into halftime. We came away with no points. Team still looked flat. They looked pissed off. They looked like they didn't even want to be there. And it really showed, especially through 3 quarters of that game. And that's the one thing when you're in these playoffs, you have to play 4 freaking quarters, just not the 4th quarter. Because by then, you might have a lead that you can't come back from. The Bears did come back in this one. Caleb threw 2 phenomenal passes. We had 2 2-point conversions. We looked good. But we also had the one issue too with DJ Moore. Put your hands up. Become either a defender or something. Play that ball. Play that defender. Tackle him. Who cares? It would have been an OPI. It sure the hell was a lot better than turning the ball over. That was a pathetic effort on DJ Moore, and I was actually kind of disgusted at that point with the game. I was just like, here we go. What are we doing out here? Why aren't we showing urgency? Why aren't we showing heart? Why aren't we out here trying to win this for Ben Johnson? Because let me tell you, right now, the Detroit Lions have taken the ownership away from the Green Bay Packers. Because right now, the Lions own us. And it's sad to see 900 plus yards of total offense by the Detroit Lions on the Chicago Bears in the last 2 games alone. Caleb Williams is 0-4 against the Detroit Lions. I get it. It's a team stat, not a QB stat. But still, when you're heading the team as the QB, you're 0-4 against the Detroit Lions. It's just a stat. It doesn't mean that Caleb's a horrible quarterback. I'm just saying he's something with the Detroit Lions and even the NFC North in general. Because we finished 2-4 against the NFC North. Kind of a really, we didn't even win our division outright with wins and losses. We kind of just were like, 2-4. That's where we're at. Not the greatest to see going into the playoffs, especially when we're now facing a division rival. I'm really hoping we get this win on Saturday and we're 3-4 against our division in 2025. I feel really good about this game. We're going to be evenly matched, but still with keep talking about the Bears and the Lions game. DeAndre Swift and Monagai really limited. 16 total rushes between the two. It's like Ben Johnson this is what I was saying. It really felt like Ben Johnson was trying to get that 4,000 yards for Caleb Williams. He really wanted to have it for him. But you got away from your identity. The identity is run the ball. Run it down their throats, wear out that defense, and then Caleb probably could have unloaded for over 4,000 yards for the season if that was what you were going for. But that defense still looked crisp because they kept being on the field because our defense was the ones that were getting gassed. Amon St. Brown, kudos, guy. You definitely owned the Bears that day. Wide open. Defense was playing lackluster. I don't know what Tremaine Edmonds was doing half the time. I don't even know why he's on the field. It should be D-Jack. D-Jack was player of the game, or player of the NFC player, defensive player of the week. He's sitting on the bench. Also, where's Tyreek Stevenson? Did he piss in somebody's Cheerios? Did he tell Ben Johnson that his wife's lipstick looked wrong? I mean, what happened here? All of a sudden, the guy's not on the field. He would have given us a better chance against Amon St. Brown than Jalen Johnson, who we've paid way too well for a lackluster effort once again. He was definitely making a business decision out there. And it also seemed like Nashawn Wright was as well, waiting for tackles to come to him, not engaging the receivers, not fighting for the ball. It just really seemed like the whole defense was like, well, we could tackle you, but if you just run for these extra 15, 20 yards, we'll get you then. You might trip or something. Well, go ahead and get that first down on those third and longs that we keep gifting to freaking other teams. I don't get what Al Harris and Dennis Allen were doing out there. As far as coaching, it just really seemed mind-boggling. Like, what is going on here? Not the greatest. Didn't like it. And then we had at the end of the game, towards the end, 4th and 5, after you just got a 3rd and 20 on a delay grounding call by Caleb Williams to force yourself into the 3rd and 20. Monagai picks up the 15, 16 yards, whatever that was, to get to the 4th and 5. You can see it on Ben Johnson's face afterwards, where he on the sidelines, where he was like, I should have went for it. Yeah, you should have. You still had your 3 timeouts. Big deal if they kicked the field goal if you held them there and they kicked the field goal, fine. You know, at least you went for it on 4th down and you tried. That's when going for it on 4th down is important. When the game is on the line. Caleb was carving them up on 4th downs. He was granted 1 for 2 because Colson dropped that one pass, but there's a lot of things you can do there. Play action, you could do post, you could hand it off. That was the other thing too. You could have just given the ball to Swift or Monaguy and had them just pound it in for 5. Granted, it's no guarantee because you can get stopped in the backfield, you can get a sack. I mean, it's averages, it's chances, it's everything you want to say it is. You know, Ben Johnson said he didn't go for it because he felt like he had a good chance of getting the ball back. Not with that defense. That defense was giving up everything and more. They were the lazy dogs sleeping on the couch when the robbers came over, and they're like, "Hey, over there's Mom's jewels. Over there's the TV. Do you want a snack? I'll make you a sandwich." That's kind of what that defense was like. They're just giving everything away. It was almost like Oprah. You get 15 yards, you get 10 yards, you get a TD. Yeah, we'll get the field goal range. It was very sad to see that our defense, which was always been the staple of the Chicago Bears, solid defense, heavy run game, both were non-existent. It was the air raid, but I get it. You know, air throwing through the air leads to a lot more yards, a lot more excitement, but you have to set things up during the course of a game. You know, grounding and pounding, doing everything else. It's just not all together yet. And we're now going into the playoffs with I don't know what. It's just nothing seems to be hitting on every cylinder. We're starting slow, we're staying slow, then we pick it up. Then we're like, oh, hey, we're going to try to win the game now with like 2 minutes to go. We had 58 other minutes to try to win the game. But yeah, so that was that game. I just was like, I was so blah watching it. I just felt numb. Like, here we go. But really, this better not be what we do in the playoffs because it will be one and done. So speaking of the playoffs, there we have it. The Bears will rematch with the Green Bay Packers. It's a 6:00 game on Mountain Standard Time for me, and on Amazon Prime. Really excited about this. Will Caleb take it to Jordan Love again? Let's hope so. Let's hope the defense. Let's hope everything just fires away. And let's just take a quick peek here at the entire brackets here. So we have our Chicago Bears against the Green Bay Packers. You have the 49ers, who are definitely beat the hell going up against the Philadelphia Eagles. This was kind of my hope here that these two teams would play each other and beat each other up a lot. By the way, this bracket is courtesy of ESPN. That's where I pulled it from. And then also here we have the Rams up against the Panthers. Panthers did beat the Rams once, but I don't think they're going to beat them twice. So I do see the Rams moving on, and I see the Eagles moving on, the Bears moving on. And then that will set up the Eagles now coming to Chicago. Will that be a revenge game for the Eagles because we beat them in their house earlier? We'll have to see. But I mean, Rams traveling to the Seahawks. This is where that number 2 seed's just as good as a number 1 seed. The Rams could easily beat the Seahawks. They've done it before. So then that would make the Rams come to Chicago. So let's hope for that scenario. On the AFC side, we have Drake May and the New England Patriots going up against Justin Herbert and the San Diego Chargers. I personally really hope the Chargers. I did say San Diego Chargers, the Los Angeles Chargers. Sorry about that. The Chargers really should, I hope, beat out the New England Patriots. The Buffalo Bills against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Maybe Jared Allen not playing at home this year might be just what the Bills needed to get over the hump. Jacksonville's been playing really well. Liam Cohen's been doing a good job down there as a head coach. He's definitely a coach of the year candidate, just like Mike Vrabel is over in New England. But I mean, we'll see. I really hope Jared Allen pulls it out. He went to Wyoming, which is right next to where I live, but he was a good player in college. I've kind of silently root for Jared Allen every now and then, just because I feel like he's a good all around good character person, and I like to see him possibly succeed. Not this year though. That's he will not win the Super Bowl this year. Unfortunately, I think there's too many good teams in the AFC, and they will eventually get knocked out, probably in the second round, in the divisional round. Then we have the Texans, hopefully retiring Aaron Rodgers in Pittsburgh. So that would make the Chargers go to Denver, and the Texans and the Bills traveling to the Texans. And I think the Texans would knock out the Buffalo Bills. So we'll see. There's some long shots in there, more in the AFC, just because of who I'm hoping would win versus anything else. So I just want to take a quick talk too about the Bears season stats and how they ended for the year. Once again, we have Caleb Williams with a 58.1 completion percentage. He had 3,942 passing yards, 27 total TDs, 7 INTs, with a QBR of 90.1. What does that all mean? He had a good year. Solid year. Completion percentage was low, but I'm not hung up on completion percentage because he throws it. They got to catch it. I don't know how many times he threw that ball and it just bounced off the chest, bounced off the hands. Just not enough effort trying to go for the pass. Caleb will be just fine. Next year, I see that completion percentage going up at least 10 to 15 points. More like 10 points. I think he's going to get closer to that 68, just hovering below the 70 benchmark that Ben's trying to get Caleb to. And I just want to put this in perspective. I did all the QBs in this rookie in the draft class that Caleb was in. And it's astonishing to kind of see some of the stats when you are talking about Caleb Williams and who he is compared to. So the year prior, the Hall year, where we traded our pick to Carolina and we acquired DJ Moore. And so Carolina got Bryce Young. These are career stats. So these are Bryce Young's career stats: 8,291 yards, 49 TDs, 30 INTs, sacked 118 times for a rating of 80.9. He's had 136 rush attempts with 718 yards, 8 TDs, 23 fumbles, 12 of them lost. That is what we gave up for Caleb Williams. Then the Texans drafted CJ Stroud. Here's his career stats: 10,876 yards, 62 TDs, 25 INTs, 113 sacks, rating of 93.5. Rushing attempts, 139. Rushing yards, 609. 4 TDs rushing, 16 fumbles, 8 were lost. So those were the top 2 QBs that, we should have went after, right? We had Justin Fields at the time. We still hung on to him for that last year Everyone was like, oh, we need to build around Justin. Well, now we come into the draft class that has Caleb Williams. Once again, these are career stats. So for 2 years, Caleb Williams, number 1 draft pick, 7,483 yards in 2 years. Almost getting close to passing Bryce Young, who was drafted the year prior. TDs, 47. Already almost passing Bryce Young. Interceptions, 13. Sacked 92 times. This year, he was sacked way less than last year. Thank you to a great offensive line protecting him and keeping him upright, which has led to more completions down the fields. His rating, flat 89%. Rushing attempts, 158. Rushing yards, 877. Almost 1,000 yards rushing in 2 years. Pretty impressive. TDs, 3 rushing. Fumbles, 19. He's lost 6. So he does have to, when he is running with the ball or even when he's dropping back to pass, just one of those, he needs to start securing the ball a little more. Those are things that can continue to be worked on. It's not like a glaring stat, but I mean, 19 fumbles in 2 years, that it's high, especially when you look at some of the other players in this draft class. Now let's go to Jaden Daniels, who everyone said the Bears last year, oh boy, we should have drafted Jaden Daniels. By the way, where did he finish the year? Oh yeah, on the bench. Just like we all thought he would, because he's injury prone. It just happens with Jaden Daniels. He's built like RG3. He's going to get injuries. But here's his career stats. 2 years, 4,830 yards, 33 TDs, 12 INTs, sacked 65 times. So he's not sacked nearly as much as Caleb. We'll see what happens next year when he gets a new OC. Rating, 96.7. Solid. He's had 206 rushing attempts. So here's that RG3 look that we all kind of were, some of us were self-scouting him and being harsh on him. He runs a lot. It's a fight or flight, a lot like Justin Fields, fight or flight. And he's going to flight a lot more than he's going to fight. So 206 rushing attempts for 1,169 yards. That's a lot of yards running for a QB. Even though I was just praising Caleb Williams for it, it's not the most ideal thing to see your QB constantly running, because what happens when you get out there running? Greater chances of injuries. 8 TDs, 8 fumbles, 2 lost. So he does secure the ball really well. And so that's good to see with your QB. Now let's go to Drake May, the MVP candidate that everyone talks about this year, because he's having a solid year. He's thrown for like 4,700 yards this year. It's very solid. No, not 4,700. I think it's 4,300 or something. Anyways, he's over the 4,000 benchmark. Big deal. 6,670 yards passing. 46 TDs. 18 interceptions. 81 sacks. 103.1. So just about as many TDs as Caleb, but way more interceptions than Caleb. 5 more is a lot. That's 5 more chances for a defense, for the other opposing team's offense to come in and beat you in a game. He has rushed for 157 attempts for 871 yards, almost mirroring Caleb Williams. 6 TDs, 18 fumbles, 9 of those lost. So 50% of the time, if you can get him to fumble, you're going to get the ball. That's concerning, especially when you're going up against good defenses in the playoffs. Just saying, they're going to tee on you to try to get that ball, because they know 50% of the time, if they can get you to fumble, they're going to get that ball. Now let's go to the Bo Nix in Denver, Colorado with the Denver Broncos. 7,706 yards, 54 TDs, 23 interceptions. That's almost a 2-to-1 ratio. So for every TD, 2 TDs, 1 interception. Not great. Sacked 46 times, so he doesn't get down very often. Credit to the O-line there. 90.5 on the rating. 175 rushing attempts, 786 yards. 9 TDs, 7 fumbles, 2 for loss. Once again, he secures that ball. It doesn't hit the ground very often. It's nice to see. My draft class would have been Caleb Williams, Bo Nix, Drake May. Those 3 so far looking like the best QBs in this draft. Then after that, we have the Minnesota Vikings shining star, J.J. McCarthy. Granted, this was his rookie year. So this is a 1-year list. It's not pretty. 1,632 yards. That doesn't bode well for the future because, yes, he was hurt this year. But still, eek. It gets worse. 11 TDs, 12 interceptions. That's not what you want to see from a QB. Yes, he's learning, but ouch. That's you have trouble brewing in Minnesota because that's not even a full season's worth of stats. That's not ideal. His rating 72.6. It's the lowest in that draft class out of the top QBs. 37 rushing attempts, 181 yards, 4 TDs, 6 fumbles, 2 interceptions. So he does secure the ball. He doesn't get loosey-goosey with it when he's out there. So that's a nice stat to see. But is he going to be like a Justin Fields and even a Jaden Daniels where it's fight or flight and he's going to run more than he's going to pass? We'll see what next year brings. Then the Atlanta Falcons shining star, Michael Penix Jr. Where did he finish the season? IR. Not good. Also, that was a huge issue with him coming out of Washington. Health issues. He's injury prone. I don't know if I would have went first round on him. Felt like that was a reach, but I'm not the Atlanta's GM. Nobody right now is. So here's his stats. 2,757 yards, 12 TDs, 6 INTs, sacked 17 times, 800 or rating of 85.8. Once again, for every 2 TDs, you're guaranteed an interception. And the only reason why his stats are so low on INTs compared to Caleb, he hasn't played not even 1 full season yet. So then we're on to 28 rushing attempts for 81 yards. He's not very mobile. 2 TDs, 6 fumbles, 2 were lost. But when he does run, he secures the ball. There is that, but he's not known for being an outstanding runner. Then, so everyone was saying that the Bears should have traded down last year, right? Should have went for another haul. By the way, Caleb Williams, the haul, the Iceman, Caleb Williams. It's not even a question of a doubt that we should never have traded for another haul last year. So here's this year's shining gem QBs in this draft. I just went with 4 of them. Cam Ward, number 1 draft pick, Tennessee Titans. 3,169 yards, 15 touchdowns, 7 interceptions. Not a horrible rookie year right there. He was sacked 55 times, so half of what Caleb was sacked in his rookie season. 80.2 on the rating, 39 rush attempts, 159 yards, 2 TDs, 11 fumbles, 7 lost. There's your glaring issue with Cam Ward. That's not good ball security. That's something he's definitely gonna have to work on. I think he landed on IR or at least injured at the end of the season. So moving into the offseason, he's going to have to learn how to protect that ball and become better because I mean that's you can't have these things. It's just ridiculous. So Jackson Dart, once again, kid's a bowling ball when he runs. But that's what's going to cost him for years to come is he's going to keep getting concussions and he's going to be out of the league in less than 5 years. Or he's going to be a career backup somewhere. But here's Jackson Dart. 2,272 yards, 15 TDs, 5 interceptions. Sacked 35 times. And you're going to see why he was always sacked 35 times in just a second. Rating 91.7. Rushing attempts 86. That's why he was always sacked 35 times. He was running for his life, and when he ran, he thought he was a bull going into a red flag like from a matador, and he got creamed a lot. Brian Dable set him up for injury and for failure. And once again, he didn't play the whole season either. He had Russell Wilson and he had Jameson Winston that he was learning from. So he had 9 TDs at rushing, 5 fumbles, 2 for loss. Not the world's worst stats for Jackson Dart, but I personally hope this kid takes his offseason and learns how to protect himself. Or he's going to be wearing one of those, what do they call it? The spirit caps, or what do they call those? And he's going to have that in a drool bucket because that's about what his career is going to look like. Then the one QB that I heard people were all excited for that the Chicago Bears should have drafted instead of Caleb Williams because we should have went for the Hall, and the Hall was going to be this kid, Shedeur Sanders, Cleveland Browns. 1,400 yards, 7 TDs, 10 interceptions. Really? Sacked 23 times. 68.1 rating. Who wants that to be their starting QB? Oh, yeah, the Browns. Rushing attempts of 21, 169 yards, 1 TD, 2 fumbles, 1 for a loss. So all those people out there that were clamoring and going, oh boy, if we get rid of this number 1 draft pick and we just hold on with Justin Fields and build around him, there's a good chance we can get Shedeur Sanders to be the QB after Justin Fields. That garbage was out there. I don't know if anyone ever really watched the Colorado Buffalo game, but yeah. But hey, for those people that were all excited about that, Stefanski got fired today. Or not today, but yesterday in Cleveland. So maybe Dion can come and coach his kid over in Cleveland, and they can ride off into the sunset that way. Then I'm going to probably mess up this kid's last name, but Tyler Shoe, the New Orleans QB. I think he probably had some of the most impressive looking stats. Once again, he didn't play for the whole year either. 2,384 yards, 10 TDs, 6 interceptions. Interceptions were extremely high because, well, he had nothing down there to protect him. Sacked 31 times, a 91.3 QB rating. They are saying that he's going to be a possible candidate for Rookie of the Year. And then he had 45 rush attempts, 186 yards, 3 TDs, 3 fumbles, 2 loss. Not entirely the best with that ball control, ball security, but I think out of the 4 QBs, Cam Ward and probably the Tyler were are probably going to be the two that last the longest in the league out of all that. But let's talk about our Bears here, shall we? And let's talk about the rookies and how impressive these rookies were. For running back, you had Kyle Monangai. Rushing, he had 169 yards. Or I'm sorry, for rushing, 169 attempts for 783 yards, 4.6 average, 5 TDs, almost 5 yards every time he touched the ball. Let's go back to the game that we just lost. 5 yards. He could have possibly got it. Receiving, 18 receptions for 164 yards, 9.1 average, no TDs. You get him out in the open when he catches the ball, he flat out flies. Phenomenal. Great 7th round pickup out of Rutgers. Also, no fumbles. The kid's got great ball instincts. He holds onto the ball. One off season with this kid. Hopefully Eric Bieniemy is still around next year and can keep coaching him up. It'll be great to see what he'll look like next season with the continued growth of coaching. Then one of my favorite players besides Coast and Loveland, Luther Burden III. How we got him in the 2nd round, he really should have been a 1st round draft pick. This kid played nasty. He played with a chip on his shoulder. He was out there to show people, you screwed up by not drafting me. He had rushing 6 attempts, 37 yards, 6.2 average for a wide receiver playing running back. That are some good stats. Right there, you could have done a play action boot or some sort of thing. Trick play to get Luther Burden in the ball on that 4th down, and he could have shot up, picked up the 1st down. But that's just the snippet of what Luther Burden is. Receptions, 47, 652 yards, 13.9 average, 2 tutties. 13.9. He is a 1st down every time he catches the ball. Out of a rookie. It's great. It's what you want. And then the next one is just as impressive. He barely had any playing time. Jahade Walker. Preseason, just superstar. 6 receptions, 87 yards, 14.5 average, 2 tutties. Once again, he catches the ball. It's a 1st down. He didn't see the field so much this year because he struggled with the playbook, with the understanding of what was going on. He gets an off season with Caleb, Luther, Rome. We'll see if DJ's around. But that's a good 3 solid rookies right there. But that's not even the cream of the crop. Cream of the crop, Mr. number 10 draft pick, Costa Loveland, our tight end. 58 receptions, 713 yards, 12.3 average, 6 touchdowns. He should be rookie of the year. Personally, right there. He is turning into a baby Gronk. Like Tom Brady said, he's got that Gronk personality, the way he goes out there and he plays. I mean, hell, he won us the one game this year just by fighting through. Cole Kmet would have fallen on the ground and went, oh, I couldn't do it. And that was up against the Bengals when Kosalova just barreled through those defenders and I don't know a what type of catch. So overall, that's the rookie class there For receiving, DJ Moore had 50 receptions, 682 yards, 13.6 average, 6 touchdowns. Roma Dunze, 44 receptions, 952 drops. I'm kidding. 661 yards, 15-yard average, 6 touchdowns. That's going to be key for Saturday right there, having Rome back. Having him with DJ, Lutheran, and Jahade. You could do a 4 wide receiver set. Whew. Like to see the Packers defend that. Dig sure the hell can't. So then we had Alamane Zacchaeus, 39 receptions, 313 yards, 8 yards average, 2 touchdowns. DeAndre Swift, 34 receptions, 299 yards, 8.8 average, and 1 touchdown. Give it up for DeAndre. Almost, might as well say 300 yards receiving, but his most impressive stat was that we have a 1,000-yard rusher again. He had 223 rushing attempts for 1,087 yards, 4.9 average, and 9 touchdowns. Why the hell weren't these two showcased more against the Lions? Was Ben Johnson hiding shit going into this weekend's game? The Packers have seen you twice. They know everything that you're going to do. Just go out there and win the goddamn games. Because guess what? Come Saturday, there is no tomorrow. So, but just pathetic. Then, let's talk about our defense. Oh, the lackluster defense. But we had some stars. Sack leader was Montez Sweat with 10. This one surprised me. I did not know Jervon Dexter had 6 in the year. Austin Booker, I think he played half the season, 4.5. CJ Gardner-Johnson, he's going to be really missed. Even though it felt like he took a step back against the Lions, he actually had 3 sacks this year. Grady Jarrett, 1.5. Dominique Robinson, 1.5. Dominique Robinson's a huge disappointment for our defense. For a guy that was drafted, just hasn't really developed into anything. Then there's a laundry list of ones that were 1 sack. Jermaine Edmonds, Jaquan Brisker, DeMarco Jackson, Andrew Billings, Deo, all have 1. And then 0.5 sacks is TJ Edwards. Now, on the secondary, we have Kevin Byard with 7 interceptions, led the league. He needs to get extended. We need to give him at least a 2-year contract. Have a thank you. Stay with Chicago. Nashawn Wright, 5. But I think he's playing himself out of a contract. It looked like business decisions were being made. I better take a step back here. Unless the only thing I keep thinking of is were the Bears trying to keep as much of their team as healthy as possible, but still playing the starters and see if we can win. We left that game with CJ Gardner-Johnson done for at least Saturday's game with that concussion. Tremaine Edmonds, 4 interceptions, hasn't done shit since he's come back from injury. At the end of this year, whenever it ends, see ya. Don't come back. CJ Gardner-Johnson, 2. So he had 2 interceptions and 3 sacks since he joined us, halfway through the season. I think he needs to get a give me contract of a year, maybe a year prove it deal to see if we can get another year out of CJ. I felt like he kind of reinvigorated that locker room when we had all those injuries. Seemed like he put a little life into it. Jaquan Brisker, 1 interception. Listen, your no-fly zone shit or whatever you do, your Flappy Bird. How about you Flappy Bird the hell off our team next year and not come back? TJ Edwards, 1. DeMarco Jackson, 1. Jalen Johnson, 1. And that was a give me in the end zone. and then Tyreek Stevenson 1. I think we're going to look good going into next year. Team looks solid, good stats this year. You know, a lot of people say stats aren't the end all be all. It's just more of a check and balance. That's more what stats are. What did you do? How did you do it? So that's more of when I get excited about stats, is seeing how these guys are doing. There are certain stats like Caleb's completion percentage I just don't get overly worked up on, because it's just, I don't know. There's more important things like wins and losses. You know, Caleb has 1 NFC North championship. Jordan Love has 0. JJ McCarthy has 0. Jared Goff has 2. Those are the things that matter, because that means you're playing into the playoffs. You're being relevant year after year, and just not a pushover. Our schedule next year looks absolutely brutal. It's already the toughest schedule on paper, but you know, a lot of things happen. Players get acquired, additions, subtractions, coaching changes, culture changes. Players get older by a year. Some of those teams that people are like, oh, that's a guaranteed loss. They said that shit about this year too with the Eagles. How'd that turn out? We won. So, you know, it's not written in stone what's going to happen with this team moving into the future, but it is exciting. Once again, we have the game Saturday. I'll probably do a quick preview show on Friday, especially when the final injury reports start coming out. I'll try to get that show up and running around 6 Mountain Standard Time. That's kind of my hope. Just depends on work and the craziness of everyday life. But I would like to say this though. I'm blessed that my wife is giving me the support to try to do this show. She's been my rock for 20 plus years now. And without her, I don't know if I would have had the courage to help to try to do this show. I did get a new microphone, so I'm kind of excited to see how that comes out. I'll clean it up in post. There's no post. It just goes right to YouTube. But anyways, NFC North fans, my name's Tim with the NFC North Monsters. Let's go and let's bear down.